Hi everyone, I'm Jen, founder and CEO of NXN Labs. I'm so happy to be here today, and thanks so much for making the time. We're building an AI-powered digital production team for global brands and retailers. So prior to this, I was at SoftBank and McKinsey, working with global companies at scale, and also ran my own brands, consumer brands. And one thing became very clear when I was building my own. Content is not the problem, production is. Demand has exploded across different markets, channels, and formats, but the way production works hasn't changed. And this mismatch is a problem that I'm tackling. So we built Arden not as a content tool, but a production system. It connects generation, operations, and performance into one loop. Today, we're working with Zalando, Kering, and Vince across Japan, US, and Korea. And what we consistently see is that production doesn't break at creation. It breaks at coordination, control, and scale. But if you look at how this actually plays out inside companies, the problem shows up very differently. Everyone's talking about AI-generated content, images, videos, campaigns, but that's not the interesting part anymore. What's actually happening is very deep. AI is starting to absorb workflows. It's moving from the edge into the core of the workflow. And when that happens, you just don't get better outputs. You get a different system. And creative production is one of the first places that is breaking. Let's ground this in reality. At companies like Zalando, over 400 people are involved in digital production. Not because generating images is hard, but because production at scale is all about coordination. You're managing different markets, channels, brand constraints, approvals, and timing. What looks like content creation is actually a distributed system of various decisions. So when people say AI will generate content faster, they're solving the wrong layer. The problem was never generation, it was coordination. Better generation doesn't simplify the system, it stresses it. You get more variations, more optionality, more decisions, but the structure underneath hasn't changed. So instead of efficiency, you get overload of content. This is a common pattern. When you reduce the cost of creation, you increase the cost of decision making. The bottleneck shifts from creation to coordination to judgment. So the only way this works is if production becomes a system, not a set of tools, not a set of sequences, or a continuous loop. Generate, evaluate, deploy, adapt, and learn. And then that feedback gets fed into generation. This starts to look less like software and more like infrastructure. Something that runs continuously, captures decisions, and improves itself over time. Creative production becomes programmable in the age of in the AI era. This is where most companies get stuck. They think this is a tooling problem, but it is not. It is an organizational redesign problem. So I said change management problem. Once AI enters the system, human roles collapse, steps disappear, and decision points shift. So the real questions become, who decides what gets produced, what gets automated versus controlled, and where authority lives? This starts to sound very similar to what we see in the crypto world. How to coordinate complex systems without relying entirely on centralized processes. So what happens to humans? They don't disappear, they move up a layer. Humans stop producing every asset and instead define taste, direction, constraints, and what should or should not exist online. And this is where it gets really tough because taste, oops, I was supposed to play a video, because taste is not obvious. It is, video is not because of the excess. Okay. All right, so because taste is not obvious. It's not a prompt. It's a compressed form of experience. So the real challenge becomes, can you encode taste into a system? Not just generate outputs, but generate the right outputs. And once you do that, you're no longer scaling content, you're scaling judgment. So I say the future is not more content, it's better systems. So to bring this together, AI is becoming the execution layer of production. It generates, adapts, and optimizes at scale. But as that happens, a new problem arises: trust, control, and coordination. Who owns the output? What constraints were applied? What system generated this? And can we trust it? This is where the intersection with crypto becomes real. If AI is running production, we need a layer that secures it, verifies it, and coordinates it, a programmable trust layer. In that sense, AI and crypto are solving two sides of the same problem. AI automates execution, and crypto enables trust and coordination. And where they meet is in systems that can run, verify, and scale complex production workflows. Because in a world of infinite content, the scarce resource is not generation. It's control, it's the trust, and ultimately it's deciding what should exist in the world. Thank you so much for listening. If you would like to connect with me on LinkedIn, please use this QR code to connect. I'd be happy to just continue the conversation, because I just wanted to talk and have more like a Q&A based session afterwards. So I'll just leave it up to the room. If not, I'm just gonna share briefly what my experience has been working in different fashion and beauty industry as an AI builder. Thank you so much. Yes, please.
Test, test.
I'm so sorry. Can you test that again? Is there a particular region or audience where you feel like there's more appetite for digital discovery and try-on? Like, it seems like a novelty to me, but it also makes me, I don't know, curious as to as to whether this is like a novelty or something that I would really adopt. So I'm wondering if that's something that's shared across the board, or if you see differences in like the appetite that different audiences have.
Gotcha. Thank you so much for your question. Definitely, I think there's a strong appetite for virtual try-on, especially in the North American market. I think especially because a lot of physical stores have shut down after COVID. And for example, I live in San Francisco, but there's no Nike store to check out. So if that's the case, the only option is for you to try on virtually. And also in North America, I feel like a lot of shoppers are shifting towards checking out items on Gemini and GPT as their first customer journey experience. And a lot of retailers are trying to grab customers' attention by employing this kind of new features that'll capture their attention, make customers stay in their platform longer, and then in the meantime, during their user session, try to recommend new items for them to check out. So I see a lot of dramatic shifts in the way e-commerce shopping experience is shaped in North America. In Europe, we're working with a lot of luxury brands right now, and the common conception is that a lot of luxury brands would be against creating content using AI, but actually they're very active in employing this kind of technology, and they're more interested in deploying content at scale Because, for example, like LVMH, they're the big group of brands, right? And underneath, the operation is very fragmented across different regions, different platforms. And obviously, they're competing against like big retail giants like Google and Amazon. So their motivation is to standardize AI generation across different markets and channels, and then really have more control over creativity across different brands. So yeah, I see a lot of big interest, especially in North America, I guess for efficiency reasons, and then in Europe for exploring creativity and AI in the AI world. And I guess like Asia, there is a backlash against like AI generated content, but I think it is a inevitable step towards more AI adoption. And yeah, I mean, it is a irreversible trend. So yeah, it's very interesting time to build in this era, serving different markets across geographies.
Is there anyone else?
Hi, thank you so much for the talk. It was so useful. I just want to know your intake about the future contents, that there will be so many creative contents that the users might really don't know if it's AI generated or not. And you said that the future is it's not more content, but if it's like creative contents that the user really don't know if it's AI generated, do you think that the future customers of the businesses will really care if it's AI generated, or they really don't care, and if it's like really good content, they are really valuing real good content?
Good question. Like in Asia and Europe, there's ongoing legislation towards like labeling AI content. But a lot of brands and retailers, they're pretty liberal in that like, their candid answer to this is that they're already processing their images so heavily that it's almost like similar to how like AI content is generated. So in terms of like user conversion in like retail, for example, like we did A/B testing, how AI content converts against the real photo shoots. And turns out like there was no difference. And it is such a big motivation for a lot of brands and retailers going for AI content. And once it becomes more conventional and like what you see online is pretty much AI generated, right? So it's more like a relationship between humans and penicillin, right? Like how they evolved over time. So it is such an irreversible trend, but like once the content gets labeled, I think people would get whether it's like AI generated versus not. But even like AI generated content, there's so much like human input and taste applied already. So I think, yeah, what we label as real would evolve over time as like AI develops. Thank you. I feel so bad like the video didn't work, but yeah, I mean, if you check out our website, like you'll see more about like how our virtual try-on experience is like.
Any other questions? Don't be shy, we have a little bit more time. A question, is there an age distribution? Is there an age distribution for people who are more like curious about AI try-on versus like are younger people more, interested in it, or older people?
Based on our our clients' back data, there's not much like penchant for like, yeah, I mean, age distribution wasn't a big like contributing factor. But actually like older consumers, they stick around longer because they might have a longer attention span. But yeah, I mean, definitely in terms of like how I see a bigger shift or like contributing factor being geography. Because I tend to see like North American and European consumers sticking around in the platform a lot longer when they use virtual try-on versus Asian customers.
Fascinating. Any other questions? You have about 3 more minutes. Is that enough time to walk through what you're going to show us?
I really wish like this thing works, but
Well, if not, you can go find her after. You'll be sticking around?
okay.
Okay, great. Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.